In this example, we're going to use Fal.ai to generate an image from a prompt. And this time we're going to use a server action to trigger the task, and we're going to upload the image to Cloudflare. So before we run through the code, let me just demo what's actually going to happen here. So I've got 3 terminals open. On the right hand side, let's just run npx Trigger.dev, and let's make sure we're running the latest, and then the dev command to run the dev server. In the middle one, npm run dev, let's run our site. And on the left hand side, I'm just going to paste a curl command. All this is going to do is hit our endpoint here with a picture of a corgi JPEG. And just for reference, there's our JPEG. This is the URL we're going to hit. So let's hit run on that. Jump back to our browser, go to our Trigger.dev site. Here's our task. If we click on it, we can see 1 is executing. And here we go. The Fal logs are coming through from the task. It's converting the image to a cartoon. And there we go. It's uploaded to Cloudflare, which I've got on the left here. If I just hit refresh on this, there we go. A new corgi should arrive. Yeah, there we go. Cartoonified in the style of Pixar, as per the prompt. So let's jump over to the code now and run through this to see how it works. In our first file here, we expose a post endpoint, and that accepts an image URL, and this request forwards to the server action. And in this file, we're validating our URL with a Zod schema, and then we create a unique file name, and finally we trigger our task, which is called image to cartoon. Now let's look at our Trigger.dev task, which you can see lives in our trigger folder over here. And let me just make this all a bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Bump the size up. Okay, there we go. At the top of our task here, you can see that we are setting up Fal.ai with our credentials. And we're also doing the same with our Cloudflare R2 bucket, which is actually using the S3 client. Next, we are creating a Zod schema to validate the URL, the file name and the images. And then here we have our task. You can see that we define our task here with an ID and also has the task function name of image to cartoon. You can see that reflected in the dashboard. If we go back to tasks, here's the ID that we've given it, and there's the function name. So that's how that's defined. Next, we're logging the start of our run to the dashboard, and then we're kicking off the Fal.ai step here. So this Fal.ai is using the Flux model, and it takes in a prompt, and here we're passing it the payload. This is an update that we get back from Fal, which we're also just logging to the dashboard. The next step here is a bit ugly, but we just have to extract the URL from the result that Fal gives us. And then we download the image to a buffer just before uploading it to the R2 bucket. Then we actually do the upload, and then finally we get our result back as a URL, which then we return here the final URL as well as the original URL. Let's just do another quick test to wrap this up. And if we go back to the dashboard, we can click test, and because we've already done a run, you can see that our payload has been remembered, and all we have to do is run the test again with the same payload, hit run test. There we go, just kicking off. These are the updates that we saw from Fal, and then the 2 final logs at the end when we've uploaded. And if we go back here, we should see in our cartoons folder, it's overwritten the same thing, but there's a different corgi. And that's it, a slightly more real world example of how to use Trigger.dev.